All right, guys, welcome to an evening with the Stogie lads. A little whiskey tasting, trying something new we haven't really done. Just like a casual video, we thought would be fun to do, right, lad?
Absolutely, and especially since we've been sent these magnificent tastings from 1770, Glasgow Distillery.
Yeah, Glasgow Distillery. The guys there were kind enough to send us some whiskey samples, and we thought I've been drinking, not smoking, drinking whiskey sort of decently regularly now for about 8 months or so. Really gotten into it. We were both sort of fascinated about whiskey back in the day, way back, and we read a little about it. But we never really got into it. I think we both tried some kind of crummy whiskeys and didn't really enjoy it, right? What's your experience been with whiskey?
With whiskey, it's always been something that I've just thought would, especially when we started smoking cigars, is something that you feel that you have to, enjoy.
Yeah.
And I guess I haven't really taken the opportunity to really dive into some nice whiskeys. I've just had, the standard bottom shelf whiskeys kind of.
That's what happens when you try to get into something. You try the cheapest stuff first, right? But I think that really is a turn-off in terms of whiskey, and that's what I realized since I started when I dove into whiskey this fall, really, about 8 months ago or so, I really dove in head first and got nicer bottles, and I got a little bit of everything. And when I started to realize how to drink whiskey, how to enjoy whiskey, and trying some nicer stuff, and just the extreme variety, I was like, wow, this really is like cigars. I mean, if you buy the crappiest stuff, and you don't really try all different types that are out there, you're not really getting a good view, right? If you buy some really crappy Maduro cigars the first time, you're like, oh, I don't really like cigars. Well, there's so much more out there. And the same thing is if you buy the cheapest, $20 blended whiskey, it's not really an expression of what whiskey is at all, right? So I think this is a perfect opportunity to get you to try some different stuff, because you've had a little bit of the stuff that I've had. But this is a pretty, you can get yours out.
I was just going to show this before taking out. Just show up close here the
variety. So we've got three different whiskeys, really. And they kind of range from the lightest of the light to some peated stuff, too. So Glasgow Distillery is a new started distillery in the city of Glasgow. In the heart of Scotland, really. And they have this line of their premium stuff called 1770. And why I thought this would be perfect for you, really, is that this is, like I said, a great variety of different, bodies of whiskey, and there's peated stuff, non-peated stuff, but they really do things the right way. That's the best part of this, I think. It's 46%, so it's not really watered down, crappy whiskey. It's non-chill filtered, for those whiskey nerds that know about that. They don't filter out all the good flavors, and they don't color it either. So this is really whiskey done the right way. And we have a great variety of stuff, like I said. So I think...
Yeah, I'm super excited for this because, as you said, we have three different styles here. And it's really the perfect sample pack just to compare. We have the... we'll go through them a bit more in detail later, but we have a peated whiskey here, then we have a sherry...
bourbon, but a more fruity whiskey.
Bourbon cask, and then a virgin oak cask as well. So I'm really excited just to because also when you might not have three different bottles at home of the different ones, so this is perfect just to try them all at once.
And drinking in Glencairn, you've never had whiskey out of a Glencairn glass.
No, you brought them here, so it's perfect timing as well for that.
And when I tried whiskey, the first couple months I was just drinking out of tumblers. But as soon as I got the Glencairn glass, because I wasn't hesitant to buy them because glasses aren't that expensive. But I was like, is this just placebo? How big of a deal is it? But this really makes a huge difference, believe it or not. So I think if anyone's getting into whiskey there at home and you want to try it out, I really have to recommend, because I'm still, pretty much a beginner, right? I've been drinking just whiskey for 8 months, like I say, pretty regularly. So this makes a huge difference, and you're going to taste it a lot, I think.
I mean, if I enjoy this, I'll probably have to go and pick these up right away tomorrow or something.
So let's start with their lightest of the light. This is the blue bottle here. It's a triple distilled, so they call it smooth and complex. Obviously, smooth is a word that whiskey people like to throw around doesn't really mean a lot, but it's triple distilled, which means that it's really, I mean, it's taken a lot of the edge off. But what's cool about this is it's completely matured in virgin oak casks, which is very, very rare for those of you that drink whiskey. Basically, virgin oak casks are oak casks that haven't been used for anything at all before. So you get a really intense sort of infusion of that oaky wood. But you need to, it's a very, labor intensive and sort of difficult process because you need to make sure that you don't over mature it so the oakiness takes over. So let's pour a little in here, lad.
Absolutely.
Pretty nice, classic, just a whiskey, that golden color. And have a little swirl around, let that oxygenate. And this is just how I've learned, I'm
getting a private whiskey tasting course here.
I mean, I've just done sort of trial and error.
Yeah.
This is how I've gotten a good feel of how, a lot of this may sound pretentious, but you really do unlock a lot of the flavors. Wow, and that smells even lighter in the glass than when I just nose the bottle. Wow, it almost smells like fresh cut grass or something. A little bit of honey. That is very light.
Yeah, I think it smells pretty sweet, like right off the bat. Is what
I'd have to agree. But you can really smell how the.
Or is it just smelling?
But the nosing is very, very. It is very crucial. And when you see whiskey tasters, they spend as much time pretty much on the nose as they do, drinking. That's really what these glasses do a lot. But wow, that smells like it's very floral, I think. Let's have a little sip.
Yeah.
It's very light. A lot more caramel on the palate.
Yeah.
What do you think, Vlad? You tell me.
Let me have another sip here. Yeah, definitely that, like, it kind of reminds me of this, like when a simple syrup with like when you, like I've been talking about in the podcast, when you first kind of just not burn, but you caramelize the sugar. Yeah, and it's kind of that taste, and it's,
that probably comes from the charred virgin oak.
Mm-hmm.
The finish is very long, actually, which is nice. It really does linger, and I feel like a lot of those sort of floral. I just get this like fresh cut grass really note. I've never experienced this in whiskey before, both on the nose and on the finish. This is very nice, though. It's very light, and I think this is very, very sippable. I feel it's a spicy pepper on the palate immediately, and I think that's the virgin oak casks that get that infusion, because that's what you usually get from just oak barrels, the wood, that kind of spiciness. Very nice, lad.
I liked it, actually.
Wow, a little green apple on the nose as well. I feel like the nose is a little more complex than the palate. That's something I've experienced in a lot of whiskeys. The nose on this is wonderful. It's very bright. It's very bright and fruity and sort of floral.
Yeah, I definitely think it's very fruity. Like, fruity and some syrupy caramel.
Yeah, that's spot on, lad. You got a good palate.
And
I don't even have a good palate, but
no, but sometimes it's easy just it
really coats the mouth as well.
Yeah, but it's easy not to not get too detailed. Just like sometimes it just hits you,
But how are you liking it, lad? How are you just enjoying sipping this? Because you've never really sipped whiskey too much and enjoyed whiskey just neat as it is.
I mean, it is like a bit, strong, I guess. Mm-hmm. Like, I definitely enjoy the taste. It's just I don't usually drink.
Yeah, spirits neat.
Yeah, spirits neat, and but I do definitely enjoy.
Yeah.
Enjoying this.
That's something that's interesting though, because I feel like after just a few months of drinking whiskey, and for you guys that know, we're recording this right after I've had COVID, and I did a month off alcohol. But even so, I think I've had just enough neat whiskey that this is very light to me.
Yeah.
Like I remember feeling like back in the day, and that's part of why it's kind of hard to enjoy whiskey in the beginning, because like
there's just this bit of like harshness.
Yeah, I mean a 46% straight liquor, and I know it's like not manly to say, but it's strong and it's like you know, it burns, and there is that kind of aspect, and obviously those are unpleasant sort of feelings, and that takes away from the enjoyment of it.
It's just a hump to get over, you mean? Like, it's something that you...
I feel like I don't know, I feel like whiskey's become very light to me now. Like, I don't know, it's after a few months of just enjoying it, I feel like I can sip it now the way I just sip and enjoy wine. Like, I don't have any issue. I don't know if it's just the way you get used to it, but...
Yeah, maybe I just gotta start drinking everything neat, so you just get
But I
over
think you
that.
get used to it fast.
Yeah.
Let's finish off these glasses, lad. We'll cut to the next whiskey and give some thoughts then.
Perfect.
All right, so we are moving on to what they're calling their original. They describe this as fresh and fruity. So instead of... They do use the virgin oak in these as well, which is very cool because they do use them for everything. And like I said, it's pretty rare just because it makes it kind of challenging. And it can often really put a lot of oak influence. But these are matured in ex-bourbon casks, like most whiskeys are at some point. But then they finish them in virgin oak. How's it going there, lad?
Not good.
You're choking on camera?
Yeah, I've been in the kitchen all...
They are finished in virgin oak. So I guess they're going for a little bit of that more caramel vanilla sweetness from the bourbon. And then they want maybe a little bit of... You got it? And then they want a little more spice and wood from the finished virgin oak. So that's an interesting sort of mix there. But they describe this as more fruity, which is interesting. That they would expect the bourbon barrels to give that much more fruit. So the color is almost identical to the last one. Just classic golden, the most standard.
Yeah, exactly. You could... We compared
color.
before. They were pretty similar in color, yeah.
The same sort of oily, you get a lot of legs running down the glass. Yeah, you can smell it's there's more depth if you smell it.
Oh.
It's a more dark, caramelly, more even. It is not as vibrant, it's not as bright, I would say, on the nose as the other one. It has a little more darkness to it. What do you think, Lad?
Yeah, I'm...
Really more caramel, a lot more caramel is what I'm smelling.
I think caramel, I still think it... Not just because it says it on the label, but it does smell kind of fruity in my opinion,
Yeah.
but more, I guess...
A little more like dark fruit.
Exactly, that's what I'm
triable.
trying to pinpoint as well.
I'd say this one's almost more smooth, like they try to claim.
Yeah, definitely.
That's really nice. That is very, very nice. It's got a lot more caramelly sweetness overall.
Definitely, I agree with that.
It's more warmth and rounded. It's got like a cinnamon spice almost. I would say the first one, the virgin oak only, that had a more intense sort of ginger, almost like wasabi-like spiciness where it really coated the mouth. This has a more warm cinnamon spice, I would say, that coats the mouth. And then it's a lot more caramel. Maybe even some vanilla. I mean, it's just classic bourbon notes. And a little bit of maybe some dark fruits. What do you think?
I like this one more.
Yeah, definitely
other
me
one.
too.
But yeah.
I think for this first one, they're just going for a very simple, light sip. Just malty flavor. This has a lot more depth to it, I think.
Yeah, I think what you said about the cinnamon like kind of spice, that like that kind of spice and warmth is really what you got.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like this more. It's less bright and fresh and vibrant, and it's got a little more depth and darkness, like I say. But you prefer this one,
Yeah,
you'd say.
I do.
Let's put them in that order, because I agree. I think this original is nicer. Yeah, you can taste that there's a lot of sweetness. Nice caramel. You can taste that there's some you can taste that it's like similar to the first one, but there's like it really makes sense to me that it's bourbon barrel aged because you're getting a lot of that.
I don't know, just this one kind of feels like an improvement of that one. I guess I don't know really.
No, that's interesting. I mean, it's really fun to hear your thoughts, just like takes on, because you're still so new to it. And it's interesting that we're agreeing so much. So yeah, let's finish these off, and then let's go to the peated, because this is what I'm really excited about. Because you've had one peated whiskey before for me, a Kalila. Mm-hmm. You had a couple of sips, but you didn't really like it.
And then I've had like the bottom shelf, Pete's Sake.
Mm-hmm. Which is basically just a mixer for smoky drinks.
Yeah, basically, exactly.
But this, as you can see on the darkness before, we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. This is peated, but also finished in sherry cask, Pedro Jimenez sherry cask. So it's a nice combination. We'll get into that very soon, guys. All right, so we have come to the pièce de résistance, the peated whiskey.
Yep, the third and final one.
And I really want to see your reaction mostly on this.
I mean, look at this color, right?
Yeah, no color added. It's beautiful, dark mahogany. This is really inviting. This looks beautiful, right?
This one just like
calls you.
Yeah, but exactly, just from the appearance, it's the most beautiful one, I think.
So I want to see you take a. I want you to see your reaction on the nose here, lad.
It wasn't as
intense as you would think, right?
Smoky, yeah.
So that's what I felt. This isn't a heavily peated whiskey, I can tell. And I've had several of the most, like I've had Lafroigs, I've had Lagavulins and all that stuff. This is pretty lightly peated. Obviously, even a lightly peated whiskey will smell very smoky, but some very peated whiskeys you smell and it's like it's just like an explosion of just smoke, and it's like you can't see anything and you're trying to like get through like it's nothing else in smoke, right? Yeah. But this is like a light smoke, and you can tell there's other stuff around, right? And it's really pleasant with a Glencairn, right? Like I feel like the smoke is very.
I mean, I did smell it out from the bottle first, and then like from that, I mostly just felt smoke.
More intense, right?
Exactly, more intense. But pouring it in this and just swirling it around.
Yeah, so these are matured first in the virgin oak, much like this. Mm-hmm. But then they finish it, and I would expect that they finish it for quite some time in Pedro Jimenez sherry cask, and that's what gives it this dark color.
Exactly. But is it usual for peated whiskeys to be finished in sherry cask? So because this is something that I didn't think.
Yeah, that's a very good question. It's a very much a growing market. Both, like I remember reading about this a little bit, like both the sherry cask whiskey market and the peated whiskey market is sort of growing, and then marrying these together makes a lot of sense, and that's also very much a growing segment. So it's not very common to sherry age finish peated whiskey.
Yeah, I just had the first sip, and
wow, the smoke is very, very light.
It's very subtle.
Yeah.
And I actually really like.
This is tasty.
I like this one much more than I thought I would. Actually,
this is really
because
good.
The smokiness is just so subtle there, but I do really like the.
You can taste
that
the
it's
sherry,
there.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
You can taste that it's a dark. That's what I love about the sherry. It's a very dark, sort of fig, raised in that kind of dark sweetness. It just tastes. It's a little bit towards the port sort of dark sweetness flavor that I love. This is just a very dense whiskey. It's very good.
I really like this one actually.
That's fantastic to hear, lad. Because I agree. I love this.
I didn't even because the whiskeys that I have tried before, the ones that I've liked the most have been finished in sherry casks, and the ones that I've liked the least are the very smoky peated ones. So this crossover was like, am I gonna like it or not? Because it's one end of the spectrum that I really like and one that I don't normally like. But this, like the presence of both of those qualities, just really nice in this. This might actually be my favorite one out of three.
I agree completely. This is my favorite. From a novice that still had a lot of whiskeys, I have to say that I think that they really tread the balance absolutely perfectly here with the peatedness, because it's like you say, it's subtle smoke. Really, I mean, it's when you smell it in the bottle, it smells intense. You get it in the Glencairn, it's a little bit more subdued. You get it on your palate, and the smoke is almost not there. I feel like the smoke is almost not there on the palate. It's almost just only there on the nose. But the influence of the sherry flavors is really good, and I've never had a peated and sherry finished whiskey, and this works perfectly.
Definitely.
I'm really, really surprised, and it's like this feels like a very. These are not age statement whiskeys because of the virgin oak thing. These aren't age statement, but I feel like this is this feels like a very, very high class whiskey. Just the density of the flavors. It's just a very oily, just a rich whiskey. This is great. This is really good. One of the better ones I've had in a long time, I have to say. And I'm a big sherry whiskey fan. But I do also like peated whiskeys every once in a while. But getting both aspects in there, this is great. And I'm glad you're liking this, lad.
Yeah, like I said, I'm surprised I do like it.
Get in, lad. I'm just hoping I kind of opened your eyes towards whiskey a little bit more and sipping it like this.
Yeah, because it's not something that I've like taken up by myself. You know, I haven't really had the urge to go and buy like these big bottles. You know, just very expensive.
It's difficult because I think there's a kind of a high barrier to entry.
Exactly, and you don't like for these more like premium whiskeys. You don't have the small bottles.
Yeah, it's
like
hard to get
the half bottle sizes. So, and if you want to try a lot of different ones, then it's
a huge commitment.
Yeah, exactly, it is. And so this was like the perfect way just to really start off.
Yeah, thank you to Glasgow Distillery for sending these
Absolutely.
over. I mean, we just did this video for fun. They didn't like require us to do sort of a promotional video, but I thought, you know, being here with Ruben, it's a perfect time for us to just kind of dive into some whiskeys and try some different stuff out. And this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's fun that you've also been like exploring this before, so that you can sort of guide me through it a bit.
We hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're gonna finish off these bottles now. Enjoy these whiskeys. And if you had a whiskey with us, if you had a Glasgow 1770, that would have been perfect. But if you had another one with us,
and also
cheers
tell
to
us,
you as well.
Tell us which ones you enjoyed the most as well.
If you've had these, for sure. But I can really recommend the peated whiskey.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would fit perfectly with a cigar too.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.